Good afternoon, Waxahachie and people of the internet. This is the Critics Corner, and I am Andrew Branca. I am the Waxahachie Sun film critic.
And I am David Dunn, magazine writer for Southlake Style.
Well, glad to have you back here again, once again. This week's movie was Extraction. I believe this was your pick, right?
Yes, sir. So it's interesting, we're under a pandemic, we're under social distancing. Movie theaters are just now recently reopening. Wasn't expecting to have a new release anytime soon, but lo and behold, Netflix unleashes onto us Extraction, an action movie starring Chris Hemsworth and produced by the Russo brothers, who were the same people that directed Captain America: Winter Soldier, Civil War, Avengers: Infinity War, and Avengers: Endgame. And pretty solid names involved with this picture.
Oh yeah, definitely. And and for people who don't know who Chris Hemsworth is, Thor. That's what he's known for. He did give me a little hope in the last Avengers movie that fat people could be superheroes, so I was happy about that.
Hey man, you're a superhero in my eyes for sure, definitely.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You are worthy. The scene with where he grabs Mjolnir. You are worthy, my friend. But yes, obviously Chris Hemsworth is most known for playing Thor. He's done a lot of other miscellaneous projects. He was involved with the horror satire movie Cabin in the Woods a few years ago. In 2013, he portrayed one of the racers in the historical drama Rush. So he's done a lot of, different kind of projects besides Thor. And that's one of the things I like about this movie. I like seeing, actors that are, really successful through Avengers movies. I like seeing them break out of that and, kind of do wholly different roles.
Yeah, I forgot he was in Rush, actually. And I really liked that dynamic in that film. I thought it was really good, actually.
Oh yeah, no, Chris Hemsworth was amazing in the movie, and he's a good actor generally, and he's a good actor here. But the focus of this movie isn't really on his acting ability. So a little bit of backstory: Extraction is about this mercenary soldier guy, right? His name is Tyler. I don't even remember his last name. It was some weird name, but this guy's name's Tyler. He's given this assignment to go rescue some drug-lord kingpin's kid in Bangladesh. He got kidnapped by a rival gang, and now the job is to go in there, rescue the kid, and extract him, hence the title of the movie, Extraction. And I don't know what you thought about this movie, Andy. I gotta say, there are parts of it that are very, very entertaining. One description that's been used to describe this movie that I kind of agree with, it's Thor John Wicking everybody. And yeah, for those of you that haven't seen it, John Wick is a 2013 action movie, 2014 action movie, starring
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, there you go. Starring him as this guy just plowing through hordes of enemies. It's like a video game where people are swarming towards the protagonist, and you're just like slaughtering them in these.
My summary of John Wick, the John Wick franchise, is basically Bill and Ted get handed guns.
Yeah, that's basically what it is, and that's what this movie is here. It's Chris Hemsworth getting thrown everything imaginable in his direction, and he's just going to town on everybody in his path. I tell you, man, if there is a list of ways to kill somebody in this movie has exhausted that entire list.
I saw everything but the kitchen sink.
Well, no, he did slam one guy's into the counter, so it
close enough, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. So when it comes to really epic and fast-paced action, this movie really delivers. I you're a video gamer, Andy.
Oh yeah,
So
well yeah.
you may appreciate this comparison. I kind of label this movie Call of Duty the movie because that's what it feels like. It feels like
Yeah.
guy in a video game. You're getting thrown every single difficult thing in your direction, and you're just plowing through it like God mode. Oh, they got back over here, got guns over here, smack, smack, boom, boom. It's
And you're on an escort mission on top of that.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really good. I mean, I know that's cliche to say, but it was definitely very entertaining. I mean, one thing to do an action movie, you can either do it really, really well or really, really poorly. And basically, with an action movie, if you have, how do you put it? If you have kind of a loose story that's kind of filled in along the way, you don't get too in depth with it, and you sprinkle in scenes of tough action, high intensity scenes. You sprinkle that in, you mix that together, and you're gonna get a good product. I mean, some classic examples are any of the Rambo movies, Indiana Jones, Batman, so to speak. I mean, any John Wick. I mean, that's you follow kind of that model. You're gonna get a really good recipe for a great time, and it definitely delivered on that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you on that. I do agree that it's not difficult to fail in the action genre. The only way you really can fail is if it isn't exciting, it isn't fast paced, it doesn't have like energy or enthusiasm. Basically, if
No
you're generic,
special effects at all.
yeah, if you're a generic action movie, people are going to get bored very quickly. The
Basically,
positive, go ahead.
basically, it's just copy what Jerry Bruckheimer has done, and you'll be fine.
I don't know if I go that far, but I do concur. You do have to bring like a kinetic energy to it. You do have to bring. It's like a train. You gotta make sure you keep things going. And that's what I liked about this movie. It really, for the most part, understood what it was. It understood it was a simple action movie. It was a simple grab and go mission. You have your action hero. You have hordes of bad guys, and it's just going to town. It's him just plowing through everything in front of him, and that leads to some really entertaining moments. Like, I think one of my favorite moments in this movie, it was one scene where Chris Hemsworth and the kid, Tyler and the kid, are in a hotel together, right? It's like and all the Bangladesh police are going in trying to find him, and I'm like, okay, there's all these guys with protective gear and guns. Everything else. It's like an army versus one dude. How does he get out of here? And if I remember correctly, I think it was all one shot. And it's just him, kung fu moves, one headshots, all this fast-paced choreography, kicking, punching, throwing over ledges. It's ridiculous, but it's so satisfying to watch.
Once you see that, you're thinking, man, I could do that. And no, you really couldn't do that, but you think that you can. And if you leave a theater or you leave your couch thinking that, then the director has definitely succeeded in their mission in providing a good time.
Yeah, and I think that's what this movie is most suited for. It's not like Black Hawk Down, where it's like this really emotional, really tragic war movie. It's not really like other movies like American Sniper or Hurt
Saving
Locker.
Private Ryan.
Right, where they talk about modern day conflicts. It's just one dude against an army of bad guys. Have at it. It's so simple, but simple can be enjoyable if done well.
I mean, I equivalent this type of movie to Rambo. I mean, if you've ever seen, especially a lot of the older Rambos, and even with the newer ones, but kind of basically thing. It's basically one dude kicking a lot of butt against a lot of other dudes who don't have somehow they gotta make that guy mad, and then he goes off on them.
Yeah, and I will say that First Blood, have a confession to make. I haven't seen a lot of the Rambo movies. I know, it's a sin. Uh, but early on in the series, First Blood definitely functions more as like a slow burn thriller than it does like a hardcore action movie.
Yeah.
But I do agree, this movie is in the vein of those high octane 90s films that is just so over the top ridiculous. You're like, what?
Oh.
Okay, sure. I think one of my favorite fights in this movie is this scene. I won't spoil what happens, but Chris Hemsworth, or Tyler calls it, he's fighting the Goonies from hell. And
yeah, I remember that.
Basically, all it is just him slapping a bunch of kids in an alleyway. I'm like, this is epic. This is Chris Hemsworth slapping children, and I love this.
I thought that was great, and just the where they have these fights and all. I think that's fantastic. I mean, you're doing it on ledges of apartment buildings or in tight quarters, like up against a car, or in a small street, or I think having that kind of narrow, confined space provides one great camera work and just makes it even more satisfying.
Yeah, the cinematography in this movie definitely does lead to a sense of the characters being trapped, and I do agree that's another part of it where it's done very well. I will say that while it's a strength that this movie knows what it is, and it does its best with fulfilling with the ridiculous aspects of its plot and premise, it also kind of limits it to being something more. Like, I feel like this could have been a bigger story. So there's one recurring theme in the movie of penance, right? Early on in Tyler's life, won't spoil everything, but he regrets something that happens relating to his son. And now here he is helping someone else's son trying to survive a really serious scenario.
It definitely has a man versus himself kind of quality.
It definitely does. And I feel like the movie could have explored that a little more deeply, to where it had a little bit more hard-hitting emotional moments. But the movie never really does that. It's just kind of like, oh, there's this kid, there's this white guy's got to protect him, okay, and it focuses more on the action than it focuses on the story.
Yeah, and it does play well to that strength. I would definitely agree to that. One interesting thing, I was looking on IMDb, and for people who don't know what that is, that's internetmoviedatabase.com, which has anything movie related, upcoming productions, or filming schedule, stuff like that on there. They've already greenlighted a sequel to this movie already.
I didn't know that. Don't know how I feel about that, especially considering some of the things that happens in this movie. But
yeah.
That's a spoiler conversation. We'll have that off the record. On that note, do you think this is well suited for a sequel, Andy?
I think so. I mean, look at how many sequels John Wick has gotten. There's what, 4? And they're making The Matrix 4. Come on, I mean.
True, but I do feel like John Wick and Matrix has a uniqueness to them to where sequels are warranted. Like, I've seen the sequel to John Wick. I haven't finished the Matrix series, but John Wick at least kept up that high octane pace. It kept up that energy, and to where the point where you're like, okay, this is round 2 of this. I don't mind. Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie. Keanu Reeves is in this movie. Go to town, have at it. I had fun with it. I was able to enjoy it. I don't see this premise being well suited for a sequel. I worry that, I worry that this might be a setup case for sequelitis, where
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, are you thinking it's going to be like those movies called The Marine with John Cena, just kind of becoming that running gag or whatever?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but regardless, there are movies out there to where the first ones are great movies. They really make an impact. They really set a standard. They're really entertaining. And then movie studios are like, oh, okay, we got to churn out a sequel because this one got a lot of attention, so this one will get more attention. I don't know if an Extraction 2 will have the same treatment as the first Extraction, especially since the first Extraction was so simple in its setup.
Well, it's kind of like Taken, you know? How many times does that guy's family get taken?
True, but the Taken sequels are terrible, and that's my point.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, I didn't catch that comparison. But
yeah,
it could very well be the Taken series.
according to IMDb, Extraction 2 has been announced. It looked like they green-lighted it, so.
I'd be very curious to see what they do with the sequel. It's like, are they going to kidnap the kid again? Like, I don't know. That's a conversation to be set up later on.
Yeah, but that's according to what they're putting out there online. That the sequel has been announced, so we'll see. I hope it's a good one, but if not, I'll get some popcorn and enjoy it just as well. So,
Oh, yeah,
overall, what do you give Extraction here?
Extraction's a solid 7. If you go into this movie, you're not expecting something really profound or something really groundbreaking or something really deep, but you just want to go in, turn off your brain, and see one ridiculous, quick edited, over-the-top action sequence after another, this movie will give that to you.
I would give it probably an 8, just for the similar reasons. I mean, this movie is not going to win an Oscar. It's not going to win anything. It is what I like to call a popcorn movie. It is something that you can just go, chill, invite a couple buddies over to the house, say, hey, let's get some pizza, watch this, have a good time. It's almost I wouldn't say it's quite a throwaway movie, but it's borderline. But it'll make for a good night, and that's its purpose.
I agree with that, and I would say
that well.
Yeah, and I would say it is a throwaway movie. But hey, throwaway movies can be very fun. This movie's very fun. Definitely a good buddy night movie if you're doing a buddy night Zoom meeting. So stay safe, everybody. Stay at home. Follow social distancing. And if you're looking for something new to watch, check out Extraction. It's very fun.
And if you do go out to the theaters, which they are opening back up, be careful with whatever you do.
Very, very much so.
Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of the Critics Corner. We will be back next week on the couch here, hopefully in the theaters eventually. Eventually, we'll get back doing that again. But if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, you want to talk movies with us, give me an email at andrew@waxahachiesun.com or
David@southlakestyle.com.
Okay. Well, we'll do it for today, and we'll see you next week.
See y'all next week.
Take care.